Hello everyone, my name is Imala Faza from the University of Groningen, and I will share on my research regarding organizational behavior, which is titled Provoking Creativity in Business, the Impact of Promotion and Prevention Problem Framing on Creativity in the COVID-19 era. Firstly, this research is based on the importance of creativity in the organizational context itself, as what allows firms to respond productively to diverse pressures and contribute to organizational innovation and survival is the ability to develop creativity as its core competence. Since creativity can be generated and is needed to be generated in any job and any position at the firm, managers need to encourage and promote it since they are the ones with the greatest information about which employee job outputs should be creative and who have a significant amount of control over the environment in which creativity might develop. Especially in COVID-19, there's more pressures on firms to be able to rapidly adapt and survive to the changing rules, regulations, and environments, which brings uncertainty and unpredictability to most firms. It urges firms to continuously adapt and find new ways to survive. Thus, firms need to find ways to encourage creativity in the workplace and nudge employees to develop innovative ideas. And here, the regulatory focus theory, or the RFT, is focused on as a way of influencing creativity as it explores human motivation, which is centered on responsibilities and obligations. There have been numerous studies regarding regulatory focus and its implications for goal-achieving strategies, decision-making, and creativity. However, the specific impact of problem framing on individual creativity during crisis remains underexplored. In the current study, it has been observed in various research that past researchers have put the superiority of promotion focus over prevention focus. For example, in the study done by Friedman and Forster in 2001, and the study done by Boss, Drew, and Neistat in 2011. The study sought to test whether these major findings are true and remain robust amidst the pandemic and to close the gap of the specific impact of problem framing on individual creativity during crisis by investigating the relationship between the promotion problem framing and the prevention problem framing and creativity in times of crisis. Moreover, this study's objective is to provide an understanding of how managers or leaders could maximize the creative output of their employees in dire, stressful situations, or in this case, in the pandemic. Moving on to the theoretical background or slash the literature review, I'm going to briefly explain each of the subsection, which will gradually build up to the proposed hypothesis. Firstly, creativity in the workplace. As mentioned earlier, creativity is essential in organizations. The said creativity starting point is the individually generated or initiated creativity. Hence, the importance of employees itself, as it is where creativity is first generated. As research has shown that any and or some level of creativity is necessary for almost any job, and hence it is essential for individuals in leading positions to comprehend and decide what spectrum would be deemed a creative output, as each job and position demands various level of creativity. Then, entering the crisis management and creativity as impact of crisis includes disruptive demand and supply and availability of the physical workforce and dropping revenues. This provides reasoning of why during times of crisis, creativity becomes a crucial asset as it enables organizations to innovate solutions, adapt swiftly, and mitigate risk. This can be seen in the second half of 2020. There were indications of businesses reinventing themselves and, in certain circumstances, achieving market success, which creativity certainly plays a part in. Then, in day-to-day creativity, there's an influencing factor called stressors, which comprise of multiple pressures that a person, or in this case, the employee, face in their day-to-day work life. Stressors are already present in employees' day-to-day work. However, it is amplified during the crisis. Researchers have investigated the relationship between stressors and their impact of individual level creativity. And there are many theories about the relationship, whether it is a negative, a positive, or even a curvilinear relationship, as can be seen in the activation theory. In the activation theory, it is explained that excessive stressors beyond a certain threshold will reduce the performance, or in this case, the creative output that is generated. This is particularly important as managers must be aware that high stress levels during crisis can possibly decrease creativity and must find a moderate point, which are judged to be the most optimal. Then, one way of influencing creativity is by using the regulatory focus theory, or the RFT, as I mentioned earlier, which explores how individuals adjust their behavior to achieve goals. And this specific theory proposes that people have two different motivational orientations, which is the prevention focus and the promotion focus. Promotion focus is driven by the desire to achieve gains, while prevention focus aims to avoid losses and maintain the status quo. It is like how a person mindset is set on, whether it is to achieve gains or to avoid losses. Different stressors level exist in various jobs, with some emphasizing achievement and others emphasizing discipline, which highlights management's importance in influencing it and which problem framing is the most effective in each environment. Thus, applying the RFT in business and managerial environment is what the study hopes to achieve. According to past research, promotion-focused approaches signal a more favorable environment, encouraging a more riskier and more exploratory processing style, enhancing creativity in the process. On the other hand, a prevention-focused approach may signal that the environment is harmful and thus lead to the adoption of a more risk-averse or a watchful processing style, thereby reducing creativity. To prevent reducing creativity, it is important for managers to evoke the feeling that it is safe for the employees to innovate in stressful times, which can help them be more relaxed and generate more creativity in times of crisis. This brings us to the proposed hypothesis, which is promotion problem framing, which results in higher creativity than prevention problem framing in times of crisis. In the study, survey for quantitative data are conducted online on Prolific, which result in 219 student respondents, which were randomly assigned over promotion or prevention framing. Participants were paid each £2.13 for completing the survey, and in the survey there are three additional measures. First, the perceptions of crisis, which exactly as the name said, is the measurement of how respondents perceive crisis itself. And it is comprised of the three scale, which is the CAS scale, the COMF scale, and the concern scale. And then the second one is the manipulation checks. It is the check done to measure whether the manipulations used in the study worked as intended, which comprised of two use checks, which is the drive and strategies related emotions. And lastly, there are control variables, which are the gender, age, and whether respondents have worked for pay in the previous 30 days. In the survey, participants were asked to generate ideas for improving their health that they could think of for the promotion framing condition, while in the prevention framing condition, participants were asked to come up with ideas for maintaining their health. The result is then assessed by doing a creativity coding following the subjective scoring guidelines that Sylvia et al. In 2008 provided. Next is the result. For the proposed hypothesis, the results showed that prevention problem framing actually promotes higher creative problem solving skills than promotion problem framing. Furthermore, the two conditions intersect quite largely, which can be interpreted as the two conditions don't differ as much in influencing creative problem solving. This means that the proposed hypothesis is therefore rejected. For the manipulation checks, it turned out that the drive-related emotion manipulations were partially significant, while the strategies related emotions manipulations were insignificant for both promotion and prevention-related emotions, which as a whole signs that the manipulation were not quite as effective. And lastly, it is found from the three perceptions of the crisis scales that the participants are on average fairly relaxed about COVID-19, but are still alert to the risks the pandemic could impose on their lives. It can then be concluded that during COVID-19, prevention problem framing promotes creative problem solving more than promotion problem framing, which both effects intersecting. Participants also report low anxiety, high comfort, and awareness of potential crisis. This result will then be discussed on a theoretical and practical level of implications. On a theoretical level, this study contributes to the existing body of literature by filling in the gaps on what are the differences in each regulatory focus in sensitive times, such as COVID-19. Similar to the study done by Bas, Drew, and Neistat in 2011, that creativity is influenced more in a prevention problem framing in a stressful context, or in here can be assumed as the COVID-19 situation that acts as a catalyst for prevention-induced creativity. This can be translated into when stress and pressure to survive is high in COVID-19 situation, people who are triggered to a prevention state through prevention problem framing can result in higher creativity due to the appropriateness of the prevention state in the specific context. And then practically noting the higher level of concern towards the pandemic and the awareness of the consequences, leaders and managers must be able to correctly manage these stressors to increase the level of creativity when urgently needed. It is suggested that prevention focus can positively lead to decreased stress and anxiety levels by enhancing engagement in the protective behaviors, which is better to handle the stress and uncertainty present. Thus, managers can induce a preventive state by framing problems in a preventive way, but must be flexible enough to determine the suitability of prevention framing according to the stress levels, as stress levels fluctuate over time in COVID-19 and is higher in the early stages of the pandemic, but lower at the later stages. Lastly, to conclude my research based on the findings that contribute to the existing literature body, these unexpected findings may be due to the unique and distinct situation that COVID-19 offers compared to regular situations and the limited literature during the recent pandemic. Furthermore, the findings emphasize the need for managers to understand and manage stressors effectively. However, as the study contains limitations like the reliance on self-reports and a homogeneous sample of UK nationality students, the study calls for further research on cultural variations at different creative tasks and potential moderating variables in crisis context, offering valuable insights for organizational leaders aiming to foster creativity in their workplace. Then that is all for the study that I've conducted. Thank you for listening, and I was hoping that I could offer the valuable thoughts.